So this is like a really cool thing. This is like, actually, you'll love this.
Wait, let's pause it real quick. This is
Yeah.
Chris with Friends. At the very beginning, I've already started the video, so we're just
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
let's do it.
this is Brett's with Friends, and I'm with Renee. How do I pronounce that last name of yours? Palabala?
Perfect. No, it's Benmeleh.
Benmeleh.
Yes, it means
Benmeleh.
son of the king.
Perfect. And this is a conversation maybe 35 years in the making.
Fuck yeah. Can I
Okay,
say
so
that on your video? Can I say
where say shit, cunt, fuck, whatever you want to say.
that's good because
Everything.
I got a pirate mouth.
Oh, good, good. Well, the more shit words we say, the better this is. I already started putting down that this isn't for kids. You know, when apps
That's good. Yeah.
I was
Not
like,
for
oh,
kids.
I don't
Not
know.
for kids.
It should be.
Not for kids. No, no.
So Renee Benmeleh,
Melech.
Melech. Okay.
Benmelech.
How would you like the people to know you as? What's your nomenclature?
I
Like,
don't know
what
what
do
you mean
you
by that. What do you mean by that?
like? Singer, vocalist,
Oh.
voice,
Hmm.
entrepreneur,
Gosh. Yeah.
therapy, voice. Uh, how are the? How is it that you is?
Yeah, good question. It's a lot of things.
Say the world, man. They're all waiting to hear it.
I'm a world music vocalist. I am an improviser, and somewhere along the line, I decided I wanted to help teach vocal improvisation as well. So I'm a vocal improvisation facilitator and educator. I am also a musician. I play percussion and guitar, and I compose. So there's all of that. And when I'm not doing music, I love nature. I love working out. I love to break a sweat. I like plunging myself into the bay and like really cold waters and doing crazy like breathing exercises that make me feel like I'm high and stuff like that. I like to feel like I'm flying.
Well,
And in the last 4 years, I've become way more politically active than I ever had before. So those are all big parts of like what's on my plate almost, all the time.
so
And play and play.
play, yes, the old play, yes, yes, yes.
Play like this kind of stuff. Like I
Now
love. Do you remember this game, man?
of course, I was never good at it, but
Oh, it's so good.
I'm not good
Good
at
stuff.
structure. um, what? So I knew you back. Let's just go back into the tendrils, and we'll go up. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
So I knew Renee, ladies and gentlemen, when I was in high school, and we
Yep.
went to Delmar High School together. And
Yep.
she is a very talented. I'm attracted to talented people. I like talent. I see talent in others, and She has always been a very uh, talented vocalist. I
Well,
always
thank
remember
you,
that about
sir.
her. And now we're here in the future, and now we're doing a podcast, and now we're going to learn more about each other. We're trying to save our conversations from last night so that they're refreshed today. And let's just go into what you do, where you've been, where you want to go, and the floor is yours. You just tell the people where you've been, give them a little history of you, and we'll hopefully some dull Martians are watching somewhere.
We'll make sure that that happens, actually. Um, well, first of all, I just want to say it was so fun to it was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I noticed you on social media, and I was like, "Oh my God, Brett!" Like I just had great memories of just laughing and talking with you, and you were always just big old clown, and I loved it.
Oh,
It was fun. Getting all these like, can you see those like coming up on my screen?
no.
No? Oh, good.
What's
Like y'all
happening?
not don't need to know about my personal text messages and shit. Okay. Um, so yeah, and so it's been fun to see also the evolution of like of your life and where you went with your art and your gifts. So I've been really appreciating that. And what did you ask me? I don't know. Like,
Where were you? Where you started? Where you're going? Where do you want to be? Like where you've
oh.
always been. I remember we used to have like confidential talks on the. Del Mar High School was in San Jose, California. And we were a very liberal school. Very, the jocks were the friends with the choir people, and we're everybody's very liberal back then. We were known as a gay school because everyone didn't know the smokers, the potheads were friends with jocks, and the jocks were friends with the potheads, and we were very like I keep friends with a lot of people back then. And welcome to Del Mar. This is a Del Mar, really a Del Mar podcast. But
Well, and and it was a very diverse school too.
very
All my friends were from all kinds of different backgrounds, and they were queer and straight or bisexual, and like you said, like some of them were very straight in terms of their lifestyle, and some of them were not. It was a really interesting place. I feel glad that I got to go to that high school
it was
actually.
very, very like 19 class of 88. We're very
89.
liberal. 89, you're behind. But like, when did you know that you had a gift for voice?
Um, you know, when I don't know that I ever thought I had a gift.
Really?
But well, it was a long time coming before I really was able to acknowledge that. I will tell you that when I was a child, my grandmother took a record player, and I don't know how she managed to do it, but she was able to make a cassette. And this is like, the reason I'm saying how she managed to do it is because this was like 1970s in Venezuela, where I was born. Okay, so it wasn't like high tech times like now, right? So somehow she managed to do that. So I had this CD of this little the singing cricket. He's called Cri Cri, and he's the guy who actually does the music. He's actually from Mexico, and I fell in love with that music, and I sang. I just like I absorbed all of it. I memorized all the songs when I was a kid. And one of the interesting things about that particular composer, I'd have to look it up to tell you who it was. I don't remember his name right now. Um, is that the music wasn't like your typical kids' music. Like there were like orchestral sounds in the background. There were songs about themes of like sadness and depth, and then other things that were just more whimsical and sweet. But it was just so amazing. And when I listen as an adult, I'm like, wow, that was like really amazing musical training for me as a kid. I also grew up in Jewish households, and so we sang a lot. And then add to that the fact that my mom is Moroccan, French Moroccan. My father's side was Greek, and I lived in Venezuela. So there was music all the time. It was just part of life.
Mhm.
So I just kind of came out singing, and when I was I guess it wasn't till I was about my early teens that I did like a theater show in San Jose. It was like my first like theater show. I did like ballet and stuff like that when I was younger. Um, and I didn't have any singing skills at
You're
all.
natural. You're like a
When
natural. It was in you all the
I
time.
I had
It was in
performance
you the whole
skills.
time.
No, but and then as time went by, I just kept kind of like, working on it a little more and working on it a little more. And in high school, I think something shifted a little bit, and the amazing Bill Liberator, one of the many teachers there that saved my life really by just
Oh my god,
being
that's
so
what so
sweet
that.
and inclusive and like giving me an opportunity to try something out. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you can do this, and I was like, okay.
We had acting class or something that Bill taught.
it wasn't acting class. I
Or
was in the choir.
was it
I
choir?
Yeah, I was in the choir, and we just worked. It wasn't acting class. We just audition. We would just audition for shows, and then of course we had rehearsals and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm sure there was something else that I can't remember what it was now. All I can tell
It
you
was
is that
it was Stage, I think was the name of the class. Stage,
was
maybe?
it? I
Stage.
don't.
I remember him. Because that was a motley crew. If we could have a video camera back on that crew.
Oh man,
Where is Bill Liberatore these days? Is he alive?
he's yes, he is. He is alive and well. He's at Gunn High School in Palo Alto. He's the music director there, and he's just awesome. And 3 years ago, I got to do a vocal improv class for his choir,
Wow.
and it was. I have to tell you, I thought I was going to go in there to teach something. No, I went in to learn from him again. He was the way he spoke to his students. I could have started crying when I heard him. He just lifted them up with confidence and acknowledgement. And I was like, wow, I came here to learn from you. It was just amazing. So yeah, it was a real exciting moment to get to have. We're talking 30 years later. I get to go to his class and teach something. It was like, oh wow,
Yeah, it's
meant
nice.
a
Those
lot to
are
me.
hallmark moments of your life. Those are a lot of people don't get a chance to do things like that.
Yeah, yeah. And it happened because I just happened to go visit him one day. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing these vocal improv classes." And he's like, "Oh, well, maybe you could come and do one." And I was like, "Yeah." So,
So was leapfrog from our high school, which is a really ridiculous amount of time from now. Like, where has that brought you to what you're doing now as in your life with your talent?
well, I feel like at that time when, one of the things a lot of people may or may not know about me is I was a really young drug user. And I actually got sober in high school, which was really, really fucking hard to do.
I
Because
bet.
the moment I came back to high school and tried to be sober, it didn't, it was like gone from, within a few weeks. It was just too hard. But I started using when I was like 11 and
What
I
was your
quit.
choice?
I tried just about everything, but I would say pot, mostly marijuana, but I drank a lot and I smoked. And then I started messing around with harder drugs and LSD and all this other stuff. And eventually it was like, it was just too much for my nervous system. Like I was a
Young age to be
developing
all that.
young person with a developing brain. And I short circuited it. And so theater and singing and acting became a way that I could emotionally channel all of the angst that I was feeling, and to connect with something creative. So it really, that's why I say it saved my life. Yeah, and after that, I just was like, oh, I think I'm gonna take some guitar lessons, and I just kind of little by little started going one step at a time, and eventually I ended up deciding that I wanted to get a degree in music, because I was going for the money, so that was the smartest choice in that department. That was a joke.
I mean, yeah, yeah. No one's getting paid.
Yeah.
If you create it and you want to do it, you're gonna do it regardless if you get paid or not.
I didn't care, man. I was just like, that's what I got to do. And so I got a degree in music with a specialization in vocal performance. But it's interesting to talk about this, Brett, because I actually have an idea of a movie. Maybe you want to make it. I don't know. But
Sure, all right.
uh, so this has been my idea because I have so many artist friends, and so many of us have been willing to sacrifice a different kind of life, and even just having like really like predictable steady income because we want to stay committed to. It's like we're married to the muse. There's just no way around it. And I always find it really fascinating because many of us, although we may struggle, we feel rich in our hearts. you know,
Mhm.
because there's so much richness in being able to channel and make art. Would you agree? How do you feel about that?
Well, I've given everything up to do what I do. I mean, I didn't have children. I was born and raised to have 2.5 kids by the time I was 25, and that never
Mm,
happened. And I was like, I was kind of married to my art, because I saw the way I was raised and the hardships that my family had, and being from a broken family, and there's also mental and sexual abuse. That's a lineage in my family that I found through my grandmother and her grandmother and
mm,
myself, and we've all, it's without art I probably would be in an insane asylum, actually, to be honest with
mm,
you, because
mm-hmm,
there's always I
mm-hmm.
always knew, even as a like going through high school or even before that, like even elementary and all that stuff, I always knew what I wanted to be: an artist, an
Mm.
actor, a filmmaker. It was never like, and kids never knew when I'd had conversations with kids in elementary school. They would all like, they didn't know what they wanted to be. And you remember that test that we all took where they would
Ah,
define what
yes,
you wanted to be by like checking a box, and like, okay, well, you're going to be a scientist, you're going to be an orthodontist, you're going to be a doctor, you're
sure.
going to be a veterinarian. And I always went, it always came back to art. And so
Interesting.
I've always known what I wanted to be. And I've always
Mm.
took in, like, I went to the library and at Cimarron Elementary School, and so reaching back into the archives, and I would look at books about film, and they would show like the different types of films: Super 8, regular 8, 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 7 millimeter. And it always said, I remember this caption that I read. It was like, um, some people won't be known as well known as Steven Spielberg and George Lucas as filmmakers. In the book, I remember reading that with all the different like little labels of the film sizes that were captioned. Like, this is
Yeah.
what the film is. This is what this film is. But the filmmakers won't be famous except for these people that are famous. I never really wanted fame. That was never my gig. I don't care about fame. Fame could. I don't. I've never cared about being known. I don't care about anything like that. I just want to make the movies and the art that I want to make. That's always, and I've known that from really all my life. And maybe I'm
Yeah.
lucky that way. But I remember walking and talking to kids, and they were like completely lost. They like, I said, "You don't know what you want to be?" They're all, "No, no, no. What are you?" And so I was a little bit of an alien back then, still an alien.
Mm.
But but like, I think we follow our craft. We're emotional, we're empaths, we're all those weird little bubblegum words you want to use. But I think we want to just, I mean, I want to, life is short, man. You gotta just keep on creating. I mean, it's always brought me, it's been my anchor, without any of that. But this isn't about me. This is about you, Renee. Let's talk about you and your art.
Ah, it's cool. It's a conversation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's all it's about.
Yeah. Well, what else do you want to know?
I want to know what inspires you, the classes that you've taught, the highs, the lows, you can talk about, your sexuality. Um, you can talk about expressing yourself when a lot of people weren't. You can do this is your platform. I want people to know about you.
Mm. Well, thank you. As far as my sexuality, I started to kind of figure out what was up when I was about 11. That was a hard year. And I had a very conservative family, so it was rough in that way. Um, but I wasn't 100% sure till I was about 14. And that was right before I went to Del Mar. I went to Del Mar when I was 15. And it was really just, like I said, kind of a blessing because I went to this place and suddenly there were all these queer people there. And
Omar.
that's what, yeah, it was huge. There was a huge community of queer and bisexual. I mean, all of the above.
What
And
happened to
even
Mickey Acorn? We gotta find out what.
Richie
Okay,
Richie
that's a sign.
Eichhorn Richie Eichhorn moved to New York.
I partied with that guy at the La Mondrian in L.A. and I met his boyfriend,
Okay.
and we had that's a whole different conversation. Okay, continue with what you're saying. Sorry.
All I know, last I heard, he was very involved in the dance community in San Francisco, and I confronted him once because he was starting to go down the path of becoming a drug addict, and I was like, dude, stop it. And
He was a club kid.
he was a club kid, and then he went off to become a club kid in New York, got a lot of exposure. I heard nothing after that. I have no idea, no clue. No idea. But anyway, it was a great, place in that way, and just it was just like nice to be able to have a place where, regardless of whatever acceptance or lack of acceptance was happening elsewhere, there was a group of folks where we could, come together and just love on each other. And I mean, I've been to the weddings of these people. Like a lot of these people, like I'm still in touch with. I've been to like their 40th birthdays and stuff like that. So it's like it's pretty sweet. Um, I didn't think I was going to be a teacher. I really thought that I just wanted to perform and make a CD and, sing and dance and all of that. But somewhere in the process, the universe was like, "Hey, I after I got my degree at Mills, I became a teacher for a early childhood music educator. I did that for 15 years, and it was super sweet and super fun, and it taught me how to be in front of a circle of people and teach. And I was mortified. I mean, my first day, I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, I don't know why, because my perfectionism was coming up. And I later became a drum circle facilitator. I took a training and I did that for a period of years. I still teach drumming classes now, but drum circle facilitation is not my main thing. And one day, a friend of mine said, can you come teach a drum circle at this day-long event in Marin? This was in 2011. And I said, can you pay me? And she said, no, but we can give you a meal. And I said, sorry, it's like 6 hours of work to do a drum circle for me. So no. I said, but maybe I could just do a little vocal improv with people. All I got to bring is my voice. She said, okay. So I do this thing. And this is like, I got to work with people at Mills who were in Bobby McFerrin's Voicestra.
Wow.
I mean, I got some really good training. And so
top, right?
I went.
McFerrin was the giant at that.
He the man. He the man. He the man. He still is. I mean, just last year he was still touring. I mean, the guy he's amazing. And so I just took a chance and I did this class and everyone's like, can we do this again? And I thought, okay, sure. And that's where it started in Marin in 2011. And I just grew it and grew it and grew it. And I've been teaching for 10 years now. And I love it. I learned so much. And for whatever it is that people say they get from it, I get just as much. Because I get to actually express myself, and have fun. I mean, we do theater games in class. We move, we dance. We talk gibberish. Do you like to talk gibberish, Brett?
Well, I've been doing.
Come on, man.
Well, I'm not like a.
Come on.
I know you're a big scat kind of. And I can't really do that like you do it. And I'm on the fence. I'm open to it, and we could do some vocal aluminum linoleum.
Now let's give it a try. Gibberish doesn't have to do anything with scat. Gibberish is like total stream of consciousness. So check it out. I'm like gonna get out of my head right now. So I'm not gonna be thinking about words, but I'm still emotionally connected. So watch. Para sama ia kulebere changwere isa manahako chuchu barakadunda.
I should give it some of that.
Alalala ia kuma Prekeri junun belegeisun mahakoi it boblo plak hai wash.
Like
Yeah, man.
this is
See,
actually my natural language.
okay, this is the kind of stuff we do in my class. So for me, the entry into vocal improvisation is laughter and play. And it's just easing up. And so when I teach, I sneak in, I sort of sneak in the skills. And what's happening also at the same time is that because when we're making music, we're enhancing memory and auditory skills and cognitive flexibility and just all of these amazing things, motor control, auditory processing, and I think even more importantly than all of that, especially since we have been all having a little computer, like we walk around with a little computer, right? Like all the time, that we actually, when we're in a class, and of course, during COVID, it feels different because we're on a screen, but in a regular time of life, we're all looking into each other's eyes in a circle without technology and actually having human contact, which boosts our mood, our serotonin. It's just overall really, really rad. And I'm doing the best I can to try to transfer that into the Zoom setting. It's tricky, but
I think it translates. I think people get it. If it's good information, people receive it. I think I'm in a now moment with you right now, and so I'm not. There's no back thought, no front thought.
right.
There's
Yeah.
just that moment. So I think that's a great place to create in. That's when I get in when I paint. I'm in that zone without relating to other people. And it's me and the canvas or the paintbrush, the paint, the tip of the brush to the canvas. You feel it.
Exactly. And that's what it's like making music. And of course with other people it's way more fun than making music on your own, but music on our own is fun too. It's deep and can be cathartic and challenging in amazing ways.
Well, it's also that losing of the ego thing. We were talking about that the other night, and we didn't get too much into it because I wanted to make it for this conversation. But it's also losing the inhibitions and the oh they might think or who might think they might see me who they. It's like it's about creating in a space where you're not feeling judged, and even if you are feeling judged, who gives a fuck? Like just create. That's where the best stuff happens. We're this whole thing is about creating from creating and being in your comfortable space, losing your ego, and just playing off of that in layman's terms or whatever. But like it's like it's about life is about like expression, I think, and I've known some people that haven't been able to express themselves because of those things, and I think we are more beneficial if we create like that. That's where
Totally.
shit happens.
No, absolutely. I'm totally with you. And the thing is that you know, we have this energy in our body. You can call it life force, prana. There's so many different words for it. We have this energy in our body. And I mean, it's been said so many times, it's so cliche. How are you going to channel your energy? Are you going to bring something good into the world or are you going to bring destruction? How are you going to channel your energy? And singing or dancing or making art, or it doesn't, I mean, you could be making pottery. There's so many different ways, right?
You could be doing
Um,
taxes. You could be running the government. You could be, it's all those things you can express yourself in any outlet that you want.
you can. And the the nice thing about art in its many forms is that it has the potential to bring beauty into the world. And sometimes what comes out of art isn't beautiful. It's not meant to be.
Yes.
It's meant to express something that is within, or maybe it's meant to express something that you see in the outer world, right? But it has that potential. And the thing about it is like that energy has to move. So when we sing, we actually have that opportunity to channel that energy at whether, and it doesn't matter if you're feeling angry. It's not about sounding pretty. That's the thing I love about vocal improvisation. It's not about sounding pretty. Let me just say,
Dangerous
it
sometimes.
helps a lot. And it's what?
I'm sorry, it's dangerous. It feels dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, it is dangerous. And I can give you a little demo if you want in a minute.
You can do anything you want. This is your
But
platform.
what I wanted to say is this. Um, in my classes, I do try to give people some foundation, especially if they're studying with me continually, like in a series. I try to give them a foundation of what we would call like musical scales, for example. And the only reason for that is because if you have a foundation of a musical scale, even a very simple one, it's an entryway into a song. Okay. If you want to learn how to improvise, I say to folks, do your scales, like learn your scales, but also go turn on the jazz station and just let it go. And you're going to be, you hear this music and then you're trying to find an entryway in. How can I jam with what's already there? Well, it helps to have some foundation. But the way we learn, just like the way we learn art, I'm sure, it's messy, right? It's not all like, okay, we're starting with scale, major scale, minor scale. Like, that's not how, you know, it starts
It
with
can be
play.
technical. It can be technical, and you learn the technical aspects of it. But I actually always learned the best times I've ever learned how to do whatever I do in this world is through experimentation.
Yes, exactly. So back to Bobby McFerrin. He suggests as a teacher to people that they sing continually for 10 minutes without stopping. And for folks who are not experienced, at around 3 or 4 minutes, maybe, could vary, it's likely that the voice of judgment comes in and is like, I can't think of anything else, or this is stupid, or I sound dumb, or I don't know. This is like, oh, I'm repeating myself, whatever, right? Like you're like, oh my God, I got 6 minutes left, what am I going to come up with? And that is the edge. That's the edge, and that's the push. It's one of the best exercises I've ever heard of to push people to like go to that place of discomfort and not give a crap about what you sound like. So in my classes, although we do, like, for example, I can't do circle singing online because it's we can't do any uh, synchronous music, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't match up. Yeah, but so we do a lot of other things, and then I also have like recordings, and then people can sing along to that, so they're synchronous with what they're hearing. But the point being that in non-COVID life, we get together in a circle and we're making. I'm giving parts and I'm making it up in the moment, and then they start to bring in their own voices to what's already there. I mean, it's a completely new experience for everybody in that moment. There's a piece of music that's never existed before and won't exist again.
And it's organic as well because you never know what's going to happen until it happens. It's like this, and there's that freedom in that. There's a whole world within that freedom, and that's where you want to play. I think. Just I'm not
Totally.
a vocalist, but because I get, I think I maybe held a note once in my life and nobody was around to hear it. But I was like, oh, actually, the octave actually held. I was actually like it went past that and actually went into this other thing. I was walking on the street one day, and it happened where I was like actually carried a note, and it was like, oh shit. And but that's never happened to like that's happened in 30 years. But like it's like there was a where it jumps it supersedes itself and like actually becomes that octave or that thing. There's a moment.
Uh-huh. Well, and the thing is, Brett, that I don't believe every person who wants to sing or make art or dance needs to be a performer. They don't. We do it. You could do it for the joy of life because you enjoy doing it, and that's actually a big. That's how do I say? It's a disconnect, if you will, in our society because we got like folks who are amateurs, if you will, okay, and or just do stuff for fun, And then we've got like these really, really famous people, right? And they've got really, high skill level and all of that. And they work really, really hard at their skill level. And we have a lot of respect and we feel inspired. Um, but like somewhere in between is like, wait. Some people feel like there's nothing there in between. And there is. There's so much. There's the joy of it. Whether you sell art or don't sell art, or you just do it for yourself, you know? And I feel the same way about singing. I feel like if people can get happy walking around their houses singing or getting together with a group of people and singing and jamming, and that brings them joy, the way people used to do, like on the front steps once upon a time with their neighbors, then that's great. You know, that's super cool. It's not about performing for everybody. So,
Yeah, it's about being. I mean, there's different things, but it's about being vulnerable,
totally.
and it's about being open. And if you're able to do things, and I don't know, it's just like without judgment, without just, I guess it's that ego thing. You got to lose that shit. But I think yeah, it's a lot of things. I think you can create lots of different things from that aspect. Like
Yeah.
it's about expressing yourself, really. I mean, that's what it's in any capacity that you can do that in. It's I don't know. It's a freedom in that. And I've said it before,
Hmm.
but like I'm learning every day, and I'm learning through this conversation as well. But it's always about being open and not uh, being so hard on yourself, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm. Totally. I have to tell you, when I took my first voice class, my real first voice class, I was at Laney College in Oakland, and it was a big group class. And at the end, we had to sing a song, and I sang, and I somehow I recorded it, and I listened, and I was so hard on myself. I was just like, ah, that note was off, and it took a lot of years. So one of the things that I started doing is I started to record my performances, whether they were audio recordings or video recordings, and I said you have to listen 3 times. And the first time I'd be like like freaking out, right? That sucked. And the second time I was like, okay, that was all right. There's a little something. That was not so bad. And by the third time, I could actually pick out the places where it went well. And I forced myself to do that, as excruciating as it is for some performers, for many performers, because that's how I'm going to learn about what I need to improve. I'm going to listen and go, okay, here, your tonality was kind of off. Again, this is a person who wants to be a professional singer speaking, not the person who just wants to play around and have fun with people. But like for me, it became, I was like, yeah, I want to sound really good. I want to be in tune, and I want to master that. So that was the way that I learned, by just listening, and then just correcting. And next time, oh, I tried a little different, it's a little better, and then try a little different technique on this, and it starts to evolve. You know.
So do you think at this point you put your 10,000 hours in?
Woo! Is that a reference to something?
The 10,000, there's a reference like if you put 10,000 hours into something, then that makes you a professional.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or not necessarily professional, but a master.
I don't know.
I don't mean I don't mean to make it
I'm
sound
not one to yeah, I'm not a
like if you
person.
put 10,000 hours into something, you should be pretty good at it at this point.
Well, I think I'm pretty good at it. Whether or not I'm a master, I don't know. But I'm pretty good. I definitely I started singing when I was 26 and I'm 49, so you'd think all those hours spent alone practicing and practicing with bands and ensembles, et cetera, has has added up after the years. Um, I will say that one of the things, I don't know why this is coming to me right now, but a lot of people who do want to perform, they feel really nervous about being in front of other people. And it's a real thing. I mean, stage anxiety is like a real thing that like
It's a big deal.
professional singers deal with even all the time. And I spent many, many years of my life singing for ritual because I got involved in some communities that had a particular spiritual path and somehow I ended up becoming a singer. And you want to talk about dealing with the ego? Like, I remember a good first year, at least, couple of years, when I was sitting inside of the Inipi ceremony, which is the purification ceremony, aka the sweat lodge,
Nice.
because I had become part of a Lakota ceremonial circle, and this woman took me under her wing. She was the teacher and the water pourer of that community, and taught me songs. And then, boom, I would go in and sing them as part of the ceremony. And there were days when I wouldn't get picked on. Somebody else would be asked to sing something that I had worked on, and my whole ego was just like melting with the fire, you know, and melting with the fire of ceremony. And also my performance energy was in there in the beginning. And as time went by, I it started to fall away. I realized this is not performance energy. That's not what's needed here right now. It's a different kind of energy that I'm bringing. And I started to slowly take that in onto the stage.
Mm-hmm.
It started to blend, and it started to become something where I would go out and connect with the audience in a way that I might not have before, and I actually felt less nervous.
Yeah.
Because when I did that, I felt that they were with me. I could feel them with me. And it wasn't about admiration, it was about connection. So it's really a good experience for me as a performer, and which is why I also can feel really comfortable in front of groups now, you know.
Yeah. So was it an ayahuasca thing that you did?
No, this was traditional Lakota. So that's First Nations of North America. And ayahuasca is a plant, although it is done here in ceremonies, really is much more uh, prevalent in South America.
I did that. I
Um,
did that in the Amazon.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, and
And
I've had an ayahuasca experience, but it's just a very different ceremony. Yeah,
yeah, it's a
the
but you can bring something from that to this.
from the ayahuasca experience.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, depending on where you travel and where you journey on these journeys that people do with psychedelics, you know, absolutely. But the thing is the Lakota folks from like North South Dakota and um so it's North Dakota, South Dakota, are unfortunately in those traditions. There's been a lot of substance abuse, and so they've been working a lot to help people stay sober, and so the sweat lodge ceremony is a sober experience.
Yeah.
And there's other things. There's peyote ceremonies that happen. Just a different thing. It's a different ceremony with a totally different intention.
Have
Yeah,
you done peyote?
I have not. No, I'm scared of tripping. You know, all of the years that I did LSD as a kid, like I had a lot of bad trips, and so I don't like things melting and all that. It just freaks me out. Do you enjoy that?
I mean, I'm a psychonaut by heart. I mean, I've done peyote and with a shaman, not some Topanga bullshit with a, you know, you know, like hippy dippy guru.
Yeah.
I've done some real ceremonies. Like I like in I have gotten a lot of that. I've gotten a lot out of those experiences. Um, Ayahuasca in the Amazon, peyote and a TP in Nevada City with the only white woman that was with the region to do that. I was at a birthday thing, and I mean, I'm Mushroom King. I like it all, but I think there's I've had mushrooms here at the house. I can take them anytime, but there is a moment in time that you do that. But I think you can bring those existential thoughts back to this reality, and you can, express them with a clarity that's and express them in your creativity. And
Totally.
um, yeah, it's an interesting. We're living an interesting time where I think people love, or even if they don't know it, they would love to have an outlet to express themselves through vocal, through paint, through photography, through anything they can really,
Yeah,
to,
dance.
to dance, movement, all that stuff. It's a big deal to do that because some people just go their whole lives without even trying one of those things.
Totally. And, you know, like as far as like my dating profile, like it's in there. Like I want to be in a relationship with somebody who's an artist. Like, and I went back and forth for years after around that. Like, is it okay? I mean, am I being like too specific and blah blah blah? And I'm like, that's what inspires me. I'm inspired. You asked me what inspires me. I'm gonna tell you what inspires me, man. What really inspires me most of all is when people have an open channel. Like when they're just like and the newness, whether you're a speaker or a coach or a teacher or you're painting or singing, whatever, there's nothing really that inspires me more than that. I'm in love with that ability that we have as human beings, you know.
And we all have that. We just got to
We
trigger that, you know?
we just haven't all had the opportunity to exactly to access it and open it up in a way that feels safe,
Well, even
you know,
like
because
like when you go see a psychiatrist, I've never seen a psychiatrist, um, but like they're always, from what I've gathered, and I could be completely fucking wrong, but from what I gathered, is they're basically, their whole point of what they're doing with you when they meet with you is to trigger that opening so that it releases that, because it's a trigger and then it just opens,
mm,
and so they're triggering something that's already there. They just want to open the door to that, and
mm,
when you open the door to that, then they can run through the fields of Valhalla, you know, or or whatever they want to do. But like, it's like, there's so much. I'm gonna put my hat on the side here
yeah, it's good. I like it
because
actually. It's a little more piratey. I like
um,
it.
I think we can all get to this moment, man. I think
Yeah,
we can all express ourselves,
totally.
and I want people to express themselves. I don't want to be doing this by myself.
It's
You don't want to
actually
be doing this by
it's
yourself.
no, it is a therapy to be able to actually like express yourself. It is the therapy that you can do with yourself and with others. It's so healing. And it's I mean, I'm saying it's free. I mean, you know, some you need
Freedom, baby.
supplies or but you know what I mean. It's essentially free. Like, you know.
When
um,
you have that, when you
it's
feel
cheaper
free,
than therapy, that's for sure.
when you feel free, and you let others around you feel free, well, what else do you want? I mean,
It's a gift, right?
what else what do you want to do? I mean, if everyone's
Right.
free, then there is no jealousy. There's no like I
Mm,
shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's no
mm,
like I'm mad because that person's got that job and I don't got that job because I earned that job.
mm,
But you know what? You gotta fucking work for it.
mm,
If you want
mm,
freedom,
mm.
and this comes from a white guy, if you want
Okay.
freedom, you gotta work for it. You can't just
Mm,
fucking. You can't be pretty. You can't just be sitting around and. You gotta fucking put your 10,000 hours in, and fucking
right.
go for it. And if you
Hmm.
then when you get those 10,000 hours in, you like don't even care. You're like, oh well, it's all good. It's all good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but
It becomes a way of life,
yeah. If you're
right?
afraid,
It's just
you
how
don't
you
have
live.
any judgment on anybody.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's all. If you're going through that situation, that trauma, that PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of psychoactive. They're doing mushrooms now. Mushrooms are legal.
Absolutely.
They should have been legal fucking
For
20 years.
therapy.
Yeah, have you
Yeah.
done mushrooms before?
No, I haven't, but I have considered the possibility of microdosing just because it wouldn't have the psychoactive effect, but it would have other effects. And there's been incredible success both with LSD and with mushrooms for psychotherapy. MDMA, of course, that was a long time ago, and then now it's coming back. But there's so many different chemicals out there that have been in the illegal category that are now being used in a therapeutic modality, and I think it's wonderful because
Well,
the psychiatric drugs have been fine and okay for some people, but not really great for everybody, and they have a lot of side effects. So
well, we're all spores. You know about the amino acids seeding the planet when it was being born? All the asteroids hitting the planet when the water world was happening long time ago, and those seeded the planet with amino acids, and those amino acids created life on the planet. And the
mm,
spores, we are mushrooms. We are living trees. We get to walk around. We're rooted. If you look at the world, what's that where they had the body worlds? We have the body worlds thing exhibit where they show the people without the flesh, and they show the vein armature of people. We're like
I
plants.
haven't seen that. That's
Oh, you gotta
interesting.
check out the body
Yeah.
world thing sometime. But
Okay, I will.
we are organic life forms that were born of the planet, uh, of the planet,
Yeah.
and um, we are stardust, all that shit. We're physically.
We are
Well,
stardust.
can you? Okay, we're
We
gonna need to
are
wrap it up because we're gonna.
golden, and we have got to get ourselves back to the garden. Yeah, good old Joni
Okay,
Mitchell wrote that song, actually.
that's beautiful.
Did you know that?
Can you
Do you
do
want to
us?
hear a little?
Can you leave us? Because we're gonna try to wrap it up here in the next few minutes. I could talk to you for another hour and a half, but can you let people out there know how they can just get a piece of what you are and try to
Yeah.
create like from where you're at?
You want some information?
I just want
Well,
people
first
to.
let me give you a little musical moment. I can't share my screen with you because you're the host, but let's see. You might be able to hear a little bit of this background. So let me just show you. Like this is what I'm gonna do here. It's not very long. Just like give you 30 seconds.
Okay.
This is this is just a bass part, okay, that I created. It's a really simple bass part. All right, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sing over it. I have no idea what I'm gonna sing over it. I'm just gonna make it up. Here we go. First you gotta let me know if you can hear it, okay? You hear that okay?
I hear it somewhat. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to hear it louder, personally, but
I'm trying to see if I can. I think that's as loud as it's gonna get. Baru bebau de yungarurune de 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 umbe tumbero umbero umbero daye tubarelile ungo yembabo 수바디 안개게 유래 두바름마윤네 율래 윰네 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 윰네
I could listen to that all day long. That is beautiful.
That was fun. So hey, I actually have a new. Thank you for asking. I have a new website. and it's called sound-nourishment.com. And there you can see my current offerings in vocal improvisation, drumming circles, and what I like to call sound shift sessions. Some people like to call it sound healing. So that's, I don't know how much you can see, but a little bit of that world over there. Flutes, kalimbas, singing bowls, guitar, shakers, that kind of stuff. A little bit of this.
Wow. I love
Come
it.
have a sound shift experience.
Well, I mean, I don't want to even go anywhere. I just want to kind of hang out here with you. But we should probably kind of. Can you give anybody out there some any? I mean, I'm already inspired, but like, what would they? How can they? Because these are trying times.
Yes.
Can they do any work that they can do by themselves right now to help themselves throughout this bullshit thing that we're experiencing right now?
Do you mean specifically musically, or did you just in general in life?
Both.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. So much. That's such a good question, Brett. That's a really good question. Um, I can just share with what has helped me, okay? Um, every morning I start with breath work. And there's two reasons why I'm feeling particularly committed to it during COVID is because I get a lung check when I do my breath work. I can tell whether or not my lungs are like in good shape. But it's also a really, really good way to cleanse the body. It's a way to get into a meditative state. I don't know if you're at all like this. I am not great at just like sitting quietly with my mind. You know, meditation, traditional meditation isn't great for everybody, but if that is one path for sure.
Let's go. We've had too much fun. Let's
Too much fun.
remind everybody how they can get a hold of you on Instagram, your website. And this has been Brett's with Friends. I'm Brett Woods. Go to my website, brettwoods.com. And this has been Renee
Benmeleh, and it's sound-nourishment.com. And on Instagram, it's Singabee. So it's SINGAHBEE. Woo! That was fun.
That was my light. Timing is everything. I love you very much. This
Yeah.
is fucking
I love you too, Brett.